And in that moment, the whole business plan for Breakwater was born, which was, like 2014,
Okay,
somewhere in
2014,
there.
okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so we got this request, like an RFP from, which I did not know what it meant. From
Request
Vimeo
for
Brand.
proposal, right?
For proposal, yeah.
Okay, got it.
And, send in 10 ideas for, your response to this brief, which is pretty much, what they want out of this film they want to make. And I was just like so thrilled by that because I was doing like, whatever I could to pay the rent at our office. It was more like playing office than actually, going concern business.
Mm-hmm.
I had borrowed money from a childhood friend of mine. I mean, this was not a successful business at this point.
Uh-huh.
And a lot of overdraft fees at Bank of America. And I just, did my best to put together some exciting stories that I felt fit the brief. And one was chosen, and we made the film. And they paid us $15,000 to make this film. So it was, which I was absolutely thrilled by. Mm-hmm. And I spent $16,000 making the film, of course. So there's them, and then
no
there's
profit,
the Vimeo.
just $1,000 over.
100%. At that time, I was just, there was no business plan. That was something I had to learn later. So there was us, Vimeo Brand Studio, an agency, and then Charles Schwab, the brand, at the top, which is like an investing company, consumer investing company. So we did it. It was a big success. They told us it was a big success. I never talked to the agency. I never talked to Charles Schwab. It was way above my pay grade. And that was kind of it. And then not long after that, Vimeo Brand Studio went out of business. Mm-hmm. They closed it. And the agency, changed, and that sort of moved on. And I don't know if it went out of business or it went away somehow. And that was it. And I was so disappointed because it was so exactly what I wanted to do. It wasn't an advertisement. There was no product. It was just a short documentary. It was about a cooking teacher in rural Massachusetts. And that was it. 6 months later, or maybe it was a year later, I got reach out directly from Charles Schwab. Mm-hmm. And they said, hey, can you do another one of those films? And I said, absolutely. Mm-hmm. I would love to. And they said, budget, what do you think? And I said, same as last time, it's fine. Now we're working together directly. This is great. And they sent over the contract, and it was for $150,000. And
you're like, that's
I thought
more
it was
zeros than before.
Yeah, it's one more zero than before. And I thought to myself, oh, it must be an error. And then when the contract came across, it spelled out $150,000. And in that moment, the whole business plan for Breakwater was born, which was, one, intermediaries often are taking a lot of money off the table. Mm-hmm. 2, now I'm talking to the actual person who wants this film and why they want it, and I can understand why they want it, which allows me to be more nuanced in sort of like what stories I can tell, etc. Also allows me to directly defend the film. I don't have to rely on somebody else who's working at an agency or an intermediary to defend my creative decisions. And I can pay more people. I can raise the quality. I can put way more money on screen, in this case, 10 times as much. And I was like, I could build a real business out of this.
Yeah.
And Kirsten Falk, who is the client at Charles Schwab, who actually now works for Breakwater, at that time, she was the one who said you could build a whole business making films, making short documentaries that tell fantastic stories that the brands, present or sponsor or fund in some way because, 60-second commercials on television are waning in their efficacy, and brands are looking for different ways to tell stories. And that's just like perfectly aligning with, this huge set of independent filmmakers who are thirsty to make really high quality films that don't have the resources.
Listen to the full Talk Doc to Me episode on Spotify or our dedicated YouTube channel.